Were we truly created by a race of ancient aliens? And when are they coming home?
In the beginning, there was no us, only them. They came not as creators, but as conquerors. They reshaped the world, not out of benevolence, but necessity. And in their image, they made us. But why? What did they see in this pale blue dot floating in the void? And what did they leave behind when they were gone? This is not a story of gods. This is a story of engineers, geneticists, architects of life itself, the Anunnaki. According to the Sumerians, the Anunnaki descended from the heavens over 400,000 years ago. They created workers. Enki, the chief scientist, took the primitive hominids of Earth and altered their DNA. He spliced it with Anunnaki genes, creating a hybrid species. We were tools, slaves. The evidence is written in our genes. They were beings of flesh and blood, with advanced technology and a clear agenda. The question isn't whether they existed. The question is, what did they want with us? Thousands of years later, their legacy lives on in our myths, our religions, our DNA. The Anunnaki may have left, but their fingerprints are everywhere. And perhaps they are not as gone as we think.
Because you're going to get all kinds of New Age people, all kinds of people who love Anunnaki. They're going to give you a different definition of Anunnaki. This new race created by fallen Anu Elohim is called the Anunnaki, meaning avengers of Anu, because that's what the Anu Elohim is, because that was their original name. Like, let me show you on my diagram. They're 11-dimensional dark avatars, and humans are in the 3rd dimension. They're an 11-dimensional avatar, and their original name was Anu. The internet calls it ANU. The Guardians spell it with a Y in there. And they are literally called feline aquatic apes. These feline aquatic apes fell and renamed themselves. And the Anu Elohim created a child race called Jehovian Anunnaki.
The more I hear about the Anunnaki, the more I believe it. I think out of everything I've ever heard as far as the origins of humanity, I think the Anunnaki story is the one that makes the most sense to me, which sounds insane. It sounds insane that the one that makes the most sense to me is an alien race coming here and making a slave race out of early hominoids and splice their DNA to mine gold to repair their atmosphere on a planet that rotates in an oval instead of a circle. I'm aware. It sounds crazy.
Factor is named after the rhesus monkey, in which it was first discovered. Its presence in humans suggests a shared evolutionary link with other primates. But if that's the case, why do some people completely lack it? While most people carry the Rh factor, a protein found on the surface of red blood cells, a small percentage of the population, around 15% globally, do not. The prevailing scientific theory suggests that Rh-negative blood emerged as a random mutation thousands of years ago, primarily in European populations. However, skeptics argue that the distribution and peculiar traits associated with Rh-negative individuals point to a more complex explanation. People with Rh-negative blood are often linked to unique characteristics, higher IQ scores, heightened intuition, and an increased resistance to certain diseases. There are also medical complications associated with it. When an Rh-negative mother carries an Rh-positive baby, her immune system can see the baby as a foreign invader, sometimes attacking it. This biological incompatibility is rare in nature and begs the question, why would evolution favor a trait that can create such serious risks for reproduction? Rh-negative blood may be evidence of an ancient divergence in human evolution. Could it point to an interbreeding event with an unknown hominid species, or even an external influence? Did the Anunnaki, or other advanced beings, introduce their own genetic material into the human gene pool, leaving behind markers like the Rh-negative trait? Ancient civilizations may have recognized this difference long before modern science. Royal bloodlines across Europe and the Middle East often claimed to be of divine or skyborn origin, with many rulers, such as the pharaohs of Egypt, having Rh negative blood. This could be evidence of an ancient knowledge of genetic differences, and that these bloodlines may have been deliberately preserved over generations. Mainstream science remains skeptical of such theories, maintaining that Rh negative blood is simply a quirk of evolution. But the lingering questions remain. Why does this blood type exist at all? Why does it behave so differently? And why does it seem concentrated in certain populations, such as the Basques of Spain, who have the highest recorded percentage of Rh negative individuals? Until science can provide a definitive answer, the mystery of Rh negative blood remains one of the most compelling mysteries in human genetics.
The day Donald Trump re-enters the White House, the world as we know it will come to an end. This isn't about politics. It's about an apocalyptic plan written from the shadows. His return will mark the beginning of a series of catastrophic events, orchestrated economic collapses, large-scale wars, and the deployment of unprecedented totalitarian control technologies. Trump is not just a politician. He is the chosen one of the dark elite to trigger the final phase of their global agenda. Leaked documents reveal a hidden pact that will undermine the sovereignty of nations and centralize power in the hands of a few. The White House will no longer symbolize governance, but serve as the headquarters of a global dictatorship disguised as democracy. His rise is no coincidence. It is the ultimate sign that we are teetering on the edge of the abyss. And this time, there will be no turning back. If you want to keep uncovering the horrifying plans being plotted by the United States, follow me and like this video.
If you'll indulge me, I'd like to read 2 pages from advice from the extraterrestrials. Yes, it's true that we have been in contact with your government and heads of power. It is also true that we have been It is also true that agreements have been made and kept secret from your people. It is also true that in the past some of your people have lost their lives or have been badly hurt to protect the secret. Our hands had no part in this. We contacted your leaders because your planet is in grave trouble. Your leaders said the vast majority of your population wasn't ready for anything like us yet. So we made time agreements with your leaders as to when your people would be made aware of our presence. Your air, your water are contaminated. Your forests, jungles, trees, and plant life are dying. There are several breaks in your food chain.
It's a weird way to end a video. There are breaks in your food chain. I don't know if I believe Project Bluebeam or that there's actually going to be like alien disclosure, like that they like put them on a time limit. The stuff this guy's saying, you know, these are quotes by aliens. Like, where did you get these? Can you believe that? But then again, where does any of this information come from? So who knows? I don't know, man.
About why we shouldn't be putting weapons in space. What was most interesting to me was a repetitive sentence that he said to me over and over again during the approximately 4 years that I had the opportunity of working with him. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie.
Well, that answers my question about the Project Bluebeam and the alien disclosure. Fuck me. We're screwed. We're doomed. So let's just have fun while we're here. Like and subscribe. Comment below and let me know what you want to see in the next video. Hit the link in the description to check out the merch. We're so screwed.